I'm Adam Watson.
I'm Trinity Watson.
This is the Dark Slayer Mafia Power Hour, where it's all power, and we're probably going to get like a half hour off this book.
Yeah, something like that.
But hey, if you watch 2 of our videos back to back, it'll add up to an hour.
Hell yeah.
So before we get into this issue, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. We post videos every single day at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
That's so early.
Earlier than what I'd be awake to watch them. We do deep dives into comics, such as Images of Shadowhawk issue number 1, the issue we're taking a look at today.
Mm-hmm.
We also do previews of books that we're distributing through Comics Mainstream, and sometimes show off stuff that we're publishing through Dark Slayer Comics. So, Images of Shadowhawk issue number 1. I chose this title for one reason and one reason only.
The badass art style.
Yeah, it has that super weird looking style that Keith Giffen did that I'm still not sure how he did exactly. I know it's just a bunch of like little patches drawn.
Yeah, it's like an incredibly detailed abstract art style.
Yeah, it's kind of like, this could have been Keith Giffen's like true form. Mm-hmm. He could have stuck with this and had just as distinctive a style as what like Sam Keith does.
Right.
If he had kept going with this one. But I bet this style hurt his wrist to draw.
Oh yeah. No, this art style looks like it would be killer.
Yeah. It's either that or it's deceptively simple. One of the two.
Yeah.
I can't decide which one it is.
We took a look at some of the Lobo comics that he did. I feel like it's not deceptively simple.
Yeah, I'd agree with
how
that.
How much environment detail there is and how much...
Yeah, like, just look at all this shit on the pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the colorist is picking up some of the work on this though too.
Definitely. But yeah, just looking at this, I can feel like the arthritis in my wrist.
Right? It's a badass cover.
Mm-hmm.
There is one problem going into this though. So I think, if I remember right, that Giffen premiered this style with Trencher. I could be wrong. Lobo Infanticide might predate it, but I think it was Trencher that he did first, his own character. I own everything Trencher except for the Christmas special, right?
Oh, shame. Okay.
And I'm weird because, if a series only has like 5 or 6 issues, I'll track down the whole thing before I ever read the first issue unless we're doing it for the channel, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to read the damn thing until I have that Christmas special, right?
Yeah.
Shadowhawk, I don't know shit about.
Mm-hmm.
I know there have been a few different people that have been Shadowhawk. And I know that this iteration breaks people's backs and has AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all I know.
Yeah.
During the 90s, it was kind of a weird thing where everybody wanted to create a character that was infected with AIDS.
That is so weird.
I would understand it a little bit more if the people creating them had been my age, because my age group, we had AIDS assemblies all the time.
Right.
Like, we were having an AIDS assembly like once a month when we were in high school, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it seemed like they were always talking about condoms.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And abstinence. They pushed abstinence the most. But they knew that wasn't going to happen, so they're like, condoms, kids.
Right. Condoms and mouth guards.
So this is obviously, by Keith Giffen. We already stated that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He did the art and the writing, with Alan Grant providing the dialogue.
Oh, okay.
Clydeen Nee did the color.
Mm-hmm. Did a really good job on the colors.
Yeah. I wonder if Clydeen is who colored like Trencher and those things as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what the colorist's name was on the Lobo Infanticide issues. Ken Lopez did the lettering, and In Color did the color separations. I appreciate how simple that name is.
Mm-hmm.
With Valentino being the editor and creator. So that wasn't incredibly common during this time. You wouldn't very often see one of the Image books where the creator of it just kind of stepped aside and let somebody else run with it. I don't think, at least. I think it eventually became, like one of their hallmarks. Jim Lee eventually was not the Wildcats artist. Spawn eventually had Greg Capullo, but still had Todd McFarlane doing whatever he calls writing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that it's just him picking up the phone and like going on for hours and hours, and maybe Capullo got some plot in there somewhere that he jotted down, but he probably just did his own thing.
Probably.
So it starts off with some pretty badass looking panels. Shadowhawk is chasing someone through the city.
Mm-hmm.
And if you came to this from Lobo Infanticide, if you picked that up before this, you're not going to be disappointed with the way the cityscapes and everything are done in this.
Yeah.
It all looks fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Same with like the neon bright lights and everything that he used in that story as well.
Yeah. It's so hard to pull off this kind of perspective where everything's so wonky. He does it so well.
Yeah. Yeah. So panel layouts are awesome. Love everything about that.
Mm-hmm.
Shadowhawk's chasing down this guy. Has a really cool splash page.
Mm-hmm.
That looks fucking awesome. I don't know if his armor was like super high tech. In this particular story, it seems like it is because it's very resistant to bullets.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what his origins are exactly. Beyond besides that he breaks people's backs. So I do like the way that sound effect's done.
Mm-hmm.
He snaps the guy's back and then just walks off.
Job well done.
Yeah, he's a vigilante for the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trencher is watching him in the shadows and thinks it's pretty awesome that he just broke this guy's back.
Well, yeah.
And whoever it is that talks to Trencher, I don't know if it's like a comm in his ear or somebody who's telepathically with him or what.
I also didn't know. I chose the headcanon of this is just a voice in his head. Like, he just made this person
I
up.
think it's more like Lobo, who he was actually talking to somebody when he was in firefights and all that.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't notice, there are a lot of personality traits that are similar.
Yeah.
With this character in Lobo, right?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot in general in this story that's very similar with, like, the Lobo story.
And to be fair, Keith Giffen is the creator of both. He co-created Lobo. He created Trencher.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently Trencher is some sort of hitman, is what I'm getting from this.
Yeah.
He calls himself a Trencher in one part, but that's not his name. I was surprised that wasn't his name. I always thought it was because I've never actually read the issues, just bought them.
Yeah.
But he's being sent to take out the Blowhole.
I love the names in this so much.
Right? A mob boss who is turning state's evidence against everyone. He's basically going to take out half the drugs in the city if he testifies.
Yeah.
And he's called the Blowhole because he wheezes constantly since he's on a breathing tube.
Yeah.
I really, really like this little detail. Hospital for the very rich.
I was going to point that out. It's amazing.
It's not just that there are background elements everywhere in these pages. It's the details that were actually put into them that amaze me.
Yeah.
And this is time consuming as fuck to color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a cool way to do a silhouette. How it actually has like highlights. It's not just pure silhouette.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shadowhawk is watching over the Blowhole, making sure that he testifies. You getting the idea that he's more of a badass Batman? Because that's the idea I'm getting here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then the Trencher kills somebody because he apparently tried to mug him.
No.
And he wants a mirror to make sure he doesn't look like a victim. This is probably like the most Lobo scene in the whole comic.
Yeah.
I love that he's got like this massive hand cannon.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy just tries to mug him.
God, if I saw somebody that was like, I don't know, he's probably like 6-7 feet tall or whatever,
Right.
built like a freaking wall. I want to
Has
try
like
mess with that.
Fildian gear all over him.
Yeah, no thank you.
No. But Shadowhawk has armor, claws, and breaks people's backs.
Mm-hmm.
So he jumps at him with his claws, and that is a cool splash page. I really like the paneling border on that too.
Yeah.
Takes Trencher just by surprise. Like, he just starts attacking him. And I know that Trencher just killed somebody, but no questions. Just straight to the action.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm assuming that Shadowhawk broke his back. I don't know. You can't really tell by the action that follows it.
Yeah.
But Trencher starts shooting him. And I love the way that it's drawn with just like these billions of bullets hitting everywhere around him.
Mm-hmm.
That would be such a pain in the ass to do all the color separating in that.
Such a pain. And that fire effect too is really freaking cool. But getting the gradients to like behave like that would also be a nightmare.
I don't know if this was traditional or digital coloring at this point.
Yeah.
It could have been early digital coloring.
Mm-hmm.
And it might actually be traditional, but if this were in Photoshop, it'd be a hell of a lot easier to do this because you would just color literally everything except for the bullets and then put those on a separate layer down below everything.
Yeah.
And just fill the area with yellow. Like, that's how I do it, at least.
You also have a newer version of Photoshop than they did back then, though.
Back when digital coloring was happening during this time, it wasn't even Photoshop.
Really?
Yeah, it was programs that these guys were actually writing to be able to do that. Yeah, it's all like bitmap rasterization type stuff. So to give you an idea of how fast that progressed, I bought an issue of Sketch magazine when I first wanted to become a creator. That had only came out like 2 months before that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every single bit of the details that it had on how to save your work digitally were already incorrect. They were already outdated.
Oh my god.
So that's like how fast it moved for a brief period of time.
Yeah.
And now it's just kind of like, oh, Photoshop added a new filter and they're selling it to you as a new thing or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, these days they're trying to sell you on AI, but that's a different story. So
Fuck AI.
Trencher can't get through by just shooting him directly. So he shoots the car itself and decides to explode the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be the fuel tank he's shooting. I don't want to nitpick too much because I really do love this style, but that sure shit looks like a muffler to me.
Yeah. I don't know shit about cars, so I'm not going to put any input.
It looks like a muffler. It looked like he went out and took a look underneath the car and was like, that thing's got to be the fuel tank, right? And nobody corrected him because none of them knew either because they're all just comic creators.
Yeah. It's not my job to know cars.
Cool little silhouettes throughout this. Like,
it's so cool.
These are also badass. I like that Shadowhawk has all these bullets going around his suit.
Yeah.
But I am curious what his suit's supposed to be because I always thought he was just a street level vigilante who put together some shiny metal and started going around breaking people's backs. This makes it seem like he's a little bit more like technologically advanced.
Yeah.
A little bit confusing. So, all in all though, cool shit with Trencher.
Mm-hmm.
And with Shadowhawk. They're battling it out. It's really all there is to it. And then Shadowhawk goes home and takes a shower.
Mood.
I don't really know why this page was necessary. It doesn't really seem to be. But I guess he thinks he kept the blowhole alive for tonight, so whatever, right?
Right.
He left without completing the job, though. I'm going to point that out. And Trencher took note of that. Apparently he's got some sort of healing ability or something because his back's not broken.
Yeah.
It would be nice if they had stopped to think that maybe people were buying this for Trencher and didn't know Shadowhawk, right?
Right.
And maybe people were buying this for Shadowhawk and didn't know Trencher. And maybe did a little bit better of a job at introducing the two individual characters and telling you who they are.
Yeah.
Anytime you put issue number 1 on the cover, you should just assume that people buying it may not have bought your comic before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think recaps need to occur in every single issue. I get Jim Shooter's whole thing about like every comic is somebody's first comic, and I agree with that.
Yeah. And this one also has a number 1 stamp on it.
Yes,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, even if they had just taken like there's nothing so important in the background shown here, right?
Yeah.
You could do the logo differently and put in a square right here. This just like previously in Shadowhawk, previously in Trencher, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that would have worked pretty well. But all in all, they just want us to track down all the issues if we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And for Trencher, that's fine. I already own most of them. So, as Trencher is deciding that he's going to go on a suicide run here, because he's been given the job of taking out the blowhole, Shadowhawk apparently rearms himself.
No.
It's weird to me there's like no facial features here.
Yeah.
So, do you know what killed the cops here?
I am assuming it's this suspiciously trencher-shaped silhouette in the background.
Yeah.
I
couldn't tell from the dialogue though if he found them dead or if he actually killed them.
I'm not sure either.
Okay, well, whatever the case, there's some dead cops.
Yeah.
And then we got Shadowhawk posing on a pipe, I think? I'm not sure what he's on.
I think that's a pipe.
Watching the cops below. And we get more cool silhouettes. This art style is just so cool. It doesn't matter if the story is a little bit nonsensical because, you know, it's still fun to look at.
Yeah.
The borders are really cool.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely a lot that can be learned from this art style.
Right? So Trencher just blows away everybody in the lobby that's blocking his way to the blowhole. But then here's they're bringing in bazookas, and apparently that is enough to scare him.
No.
So he decides to head outside and start climbing the building instead. And that's where we're met with another guy who's like shapeless features.
I love that the butt chin is highlighted.
Right? The style still works, even when it's doing weird shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Trencher makes a mistake of talking while he's climbing the building. Cops hear it and decide to start shooting his ass up.
Mm-hmm.
But he seems to be fairly impervious to bullets. I don't know what his full deal is.
Yeah.
But I am interested enough to go read the Trencher issues.
Definitely, same here.
As he's about to go kill the blowhole, here comes Shadowhawk. Did his armor regenerate, or is it brand new armor?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Maybe that's what the shower is for. It, like, you know, rains down metal pieces on him.
Maybe. Cool splash. This lettering, though, is fucking horrible.
That lettering is horrible. Nobody would ever be able to tell that this is supposed to say massacre, and I can't figure out if
Fifth and Main.
is... Fifth and Main? Okay.
Yeah, you figured out the massacre part, I figured out Fifth and Main. So
yeah,
it's
I
next.
kept reading this as mom.
I could see that. Next massacre at Fifth and Main. So there's a few instances in this where the lettering drifts outside of the balloons.
Yeah.
And then like this, I think this is early digital lettering.
Mm-hmm.
The early digital lettering never looks right.
Mm.
They figured out how to do the balloons correctly in this one. But part of the thing is like you have to, when you're doing offset or web press print runs, the printers actually separate out dialogue from the artwork in some way that I couldn't tell you exactly how it works. I'm not sure. I just know it's what they do, right?
Right.
Because when you do web press and offset, you're supposed to send them the font that you used, any fonts. Like, what'd you create the logo with? What'd you create this with? Nowadays, it's just like, I flattened this image. Fuck off. Just figure out how to print. But
put it on paper.
Back then, they actually like wanted your font and all that kind of stuff.
Oh.
And, yeah, so I'm guessing this is digital lettering because of the way it drifts.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't in every single page. In fact, most of the pages it doesn't.
Yeah.
But there are a few here or there where it does. And then this is just one where I imagine if they were doing this on a computer screen, that looked cool.
Yeah.
And it just totally doesn't by the time the page is printed.
Mm-hmm. This is why we do test runs.
Right? So then apparently during this time period, they were on Shadowhawk 3, the 4-issue miniseries. I can't tell you how many times I've had that thing in my quarter bin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had Shadowhawk so many times. Like, I'll be doing conventions and I'll just put it out there for a quarter because it's really, really easy to find.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Last show I did, though, I had, I don't know, 10 Shadowhawk issues in there, something like that, at a quarter piece. There was a kid who was like 8 that came up and bought them, and he was all super excited to get them. So I was like, that's cool. Also, how the hell do you know what this series is when you're 8?
Because your parents are super geeks.
And then we're met with some really good surprises in the gallery here. So Sam Keith just passed away a few days ago as of the recording of this. So it's pretty cool to discover a piece of Sam Keith artwork in this that I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And then as far as like a classic superhero take, that Jerry Ordway piece looks pretty cool. It is kind of funny looking at the dichotomy between the two because they're such vastly different styles.
Yeah.
But both of them look cool.
I love how Sam Keith was able to make Shadowhawk look like such a creature.
Right? Yeah. And this is actually pretty good for like promoing stuff too, because at the time, Jerry Ordway was starting a series at Image called Wildstar. And Sam Keith, of course, had the Max going strong. So it's also a good, like, you know, if Shadowhawk was selling better than those titles, hey, you know, you like the artwork featured here, go pick up the other Image titles, right?
Yeah.
And then Don Simpson, and I really like Don Simpson's piece too. That looks pretty awesome. And then this ad, I actually like. Trencher number 0, fat chance of that ever happening. But you know, we're up to issue number 5 and still only $1.95. Check us out. I like that. During this particular time period, every comic was coming out with a number 0, it seemed like.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if there ever was a Trencher number 0. I don't remember one. But yeah, they're advertising a book that doesn't exist. I like that.
Amazing.
That was probably like one of the earliest trade paperbacks that Image ever did.
Oh, dang.
It's kind of funny too when you see this because the founding fathers of Image, none of them have ever been that great about keeping all their work in print.
Yeah.
It's only been in recent years that McFarlane has really paid attention to the back catalog of Spawn. I think the hardcovers have been being released for about 10 years or something like that now. But that's a long publishing history before he caught on that he should be doing trades and hardcovers of everything.
Yeah.
And then Savage Dragon, I could be wrong, but I don't think that the trade paperbacks of that are easily accessible. I think they release them, they go out of print, and that's just it.
Dang.
I would say, though, that Mark Silvestri has been a little bit better about it than everybody else.
Right.
If you want to read Darkness or Witchblade or even Cyberforce, you know, there's either plans to release like a hardcover on Kickstarter or something already exists in trade paperback or something. If you really want to read Cyberforce, though, just go hit up your local 50-cent bins.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all in all. Oh, and this interests me. It's talking about a Pitt comic that's exclusive to Hero.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I think I remember like a little mini comic that came with Hero, and I wonder if that's what it is. But I didn't realize it had like its own little story. So, I don't know. We might check that out at some point if we can find it just because it's a promo comic.
All right.
So what did you think of this? Does this make you want to track down the other issues in the series?
I'd so track down the other issues, if nothing else but for,
Keith Giffen's artwork? Yeah, I already own the other issues, so I don't need to track them down. But
Oh, you bastard.
I thought I had given you the whole miniseries.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought so. We were at a Comic-Con, and I picked them up in a quarter bin, and I thought I handed them to you. If
they
not,
might
then
be,
you can
like,
have this
running
copy,
around
because
here
this is an
somewhere.
extra one of mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, does it make you want... So, obviously, you'll read Trencher because it features this art style. Does it make you want to go find out anything else about Shadowhawk?
Kind of, because I'm like, who is this guy who has AIDS and cracks people's backs?
Breaks people's backs.
Breaks people's backs. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and he just seems to like descend on them and break them. I wonder if that's satirical at all in this comic, or if that's actually the way it happens in the Valentino comic.
Right, because it's just like he's just stalking around people. He's like a mix
He jumps
of,
on them and breaks their back.
Black Panther and Batman, except he breaks people's backs.
All right, you got anything else?
Mm-mm.
Let's go make some comics.
We didn't create the comics that were featured in today's episode, but we did create these. Check out Ghost Assassin in the Cards and the Chihuahua Who Flew Away mini comic, both of which were written by me. The Chihuahua Who Flew Away was illustrated
By me.